And I mean, we're posting to social media hoping that if we do it enough, then it'll work eventually. So like maybe try something that statistically is proven to actually work in the long run. So let's say that you're with a guy and he's totally toxic and doesn't treat you well and isn't worth staying with, quite frankly, if you're going to be honest about it. But he's popular, right? He's popular, and so many other people have loved being with him. And some of them, are really happy now, even though they weren't with him. They aren't with him anymore. And so you stay with him because you're like, I can fix him, right? He'll change. And I know that sounds ridiculous. It sounds like I'm writing a cheap young adult book, and that's even like shady toward young adult writers, because it's not like a young adult book is easy to write or anything like that. But I am just overgeneralizing for the sake of the very obvious visceral reaction that I want to get out of you, which is like, no, yeah, leave him, don't have anything to do with him, and warn people about him. And the truth is that that's kind of how it is with social media marketing right now. I've noticed that a lot of people are getting on Instagram and venting and ranting, and that is totally okay. If you've built the kind of community where that's kind of the brand, that's the culture, and you hope that will in some way inspire people to pay more attention or take the action that you tell them to take, whether you're saying, put me on your favorites list or buy my thing or make sure that you turn on your notifications or whatever it is that you want them to do as a result of ranting and talking about how terrible and awful social media is and how none of your posts really get anywhere. But at the same time, it's like, we see this everywhere, right? You see it in your analytics. I see it in mine. There are some people who seem like the algorithm is still working in their favor, and like, cool, good for them, right? Cool, awesome. Love that for them. But for the rest of us, maybe it's time to leave the toxic guy. You know what I mean? Or maybe, and this is where we can let go of the analogy, but maybe you can stay on social media as a side kind of thing. I absolutely don't want you to keep a guy on the side who's totally toxic, okay? So we're leaving the analogy. But like, honestly, if social media is so terrible, then maybe it's time to use a different strategy. And so a lot of the time when someone is considering not having such an emphasis in marketing online, maybe you not quite giving it up altogether, but definitely stepping away, then of course the question is, what other options are there, right? Because we're so used to seeing people that we know getting those double taps, those hearts and likes, and occasional shares on our social media. And especially if you're one of the folks who have created a community and really grown your account, it's going to be hard because it feels like you're owed that sense of community. And unfortunately, these are apps, right? And these are created by people who have their own agenda, and it's not to create community. As much as they love to say that, as much as Instagram loves to say that it exists to bring people together, their mission statements change over time, but they're always some kind of wishy-washy thing that most people can get on board with. But in application, it's just not there, right? Because the truth is that they're building an app that they hope will make money. And that's okay. If you think about, maybe someone who's creating an app, maybe a founder who is toiling away, really trying to get this app running and working and building their base of community members who are like beta testing and things like that. Like if someone who's doing that, it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work to put it together, to do the coding, to market it in a way where you're not necessarily talking about all the work that you put into the app, that kind of thing. And just like any small business, I think it's worth being happy for them. Okay, cool. You're making an app and it'll be useful to someone and you'll get paid for it. That's essentially what all of us are trying to do with our small businesses. We're creating something, we're offering something, we're working on it until it's working well, and we want to get paid for it. And it goes across the board that we want to be supportive of small business owners. But at the same time, small businesses end up becoming corporations in the long run. And a lot of the foundations that they put in place end up making them what they are today. So if you're making that switch from relying on social media and having all of your waking moments thinking about marketing automatically veer toward the I need to make content, I need to post something I haven't posted in a while sort of mindset, then it can be tough. And so I wanted to help you think about how there are other options, and often those big accounts that you see that are posting all the time and are very big and they seem to get a lot of engagement, they're doing other things. They have a budget for ads. They have a team that's creating things for them. They have subscriptions to a lot of paid software that maybe are not accessible to you. And then on top of that, they're not relying on social media to grow their business. I hate to tell you this, but I'm sure that behind the scenes with those big gurus and influencers and all of them, they're working really hard, but they're also networking. They're in their inbox pitching people, and they're answering pitches, whether they might be spam or not. They're figuring out which ones are legit, and they're, considering them and going back and forth. They're also likely working a day job or several part-time jobs, or a day full-time and part-time job, because that's just our economy right now. And that's the real reality. Okay, it's not a matter of if I just keep posting, if I can remember how to post, and if I can figure out what content works well for my audience, then it will all work out. It doesn't work like that. And so what are some alternatives that you can consider? I'm just going to run through these as general ideas, and then I'm going to address some of the thoughts that are probably going to come up in your head while I'm reading them. Make sense? So first of all, you can attend networking events, especially if you happen to be a people person and you love interacting with other people. You can start an email list or an off Instagram or off app community. You can go old school and send out mailers and flyers that talk about your business or maybe offer coupon codes. Those things still work. I actually know of a small business that did that fairly recently and actually worked despite me being skeptical. So I was happy to be proven wrong on that one. You can also focus your energy on being a guest on podcasts and shows and live streams. And the good thing about that is that you get to take advantage of other people's audiences, the ones that they've already built. You can try cold calling and pitching people, like texting your friends or your family or your colleagues and telling them about your business. And I know that probably really makes you anxious, because that's how I feel when I'm even just reading that and considering it. But it's a real option, and it actually works if you do it enough. And I mean, we're posting to social media hoping that if we do it enough, then it'll work eventually. So maybe try something that statistically is proven to actually work in the long run. And that would be cold calling. You can also host community events, local ones, whatever your specialty, whatever your offer is, there are people around you that actually need it. And if you do that, if people show interest, then you know that it's going to work. And then you can ask those people to recommend other people, or at least share on their social media profiles. Now, I know that a lot of these suggestions feel like a lot of work, but the truth is that you're doing a lot of work making super creative, unique, high quality content for a social media app. You're already doing a lot of work. You're doing a whole shit ton of work for platforms that are not giving you what they said that they would give you, which is exposure and community building and the right tools to keep people coming back and to keep you connected with the people who said they wanted to be connected to you. And so I know that it's hard to break habits, because we know that people like to scroll. It's an addiction, and it's built into these apps because they've actually used the insights of addiction experts and people like that. Like, they've actually designed these apps so that you get addicted to them. And I think that there's probably the same thing going on with the psychology of, if I post enough content, if I go viral, if I create just the right thing, then this app will be an excellent avenue of marketing for me. But the truth is that if it's not working right now, then maybe try something else. And it's going to be difficult to try something new, like cold pitching or being on shows or sticking to your email inbox and networking and having those one-on-one coffee chats, rather than creating your content. Because one, you're probably creating your content on the fly, and that is burning you out faster than if you were batching it out. And number two, it's, less scary. It's less scary to create content and post it where maybe it might actually be good that no one saw it, because you're kind of embarrassed of it. You know what I mean? And so putting yourself out in front of people, asking people directly to help you with your business or to collaborate with you so that both of your businesses can benefit from whatever it is that you do, that'll be difficult. But I think that jump from the safe process of coming up with content and posting it on social media in hopes that will do your marketing for you, to actively engaging with others and doing word of mouth marketing, collaborations, guest features, things like that, it'll be better for you in the long run. And I'm not trying to downplay the incredible effort and skill of people who are really good at making content. But the truth is, I bet you if you got on a level with them and you asked them how they feel about making content, they probably don't love it. Like, honestly, there are probably a handful of people out there who love making content. They just love it. And it's paid off for them. And now they're rich and famous, and it totally worked. But I think that that's applicable to any career choice. And being a content creator is a career choice. And you probably aren't one. So maybe it's time to take a good look at what it is that you're committing to. Are you committing to the toxic guy that everyone is saying is no good and who doesn't treat you well and is just bad news? Or are you willing to do the hard thing and kind of step away and try something else? It's time to let go of the promises that social media, Instagram, TikTok, all of them made to all of us. And I promise you that there are other ways to make sales. Speaking of sales, I made a zine about this stuff, and it's free. Go to my links page, which is rochellesanchez.com/links, and you can grab your free copy of the Super Simple Sales Funnel zine. It basically walks you through what the sales funnel process looks like. And like, you have one. If you've ever made a sale, if you ever sold anything, then you already have one and it works. But you just need to remember what it was that you did. And you need to start stepping away from the things that are not working for you, either because they're not yielding the kind of results that you want, or because they're bumming you out and they're kind of horrible. So give yourself permission to step away. Go grab that zine, and I will see you in the next one.